Hey, everybody. Today is October 16th, 2021. And it's a big day, actually. It's been a big week in cryptocurrency. It's been a big 2 weeks or a month in cryptocurrency. Like we had not a very good September, but now things have really come up. And I think we're up about 14% just this week alone in Bitcoin. And so I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about the reasons that it's coming up to its all-time highs, why you should get involved, why it's moving up into these levels. So stay tuned, watch this video, and insert some comments below. Tell me what you think. It's an exciting time in crypto. Here we go. Okay, everybody, let's get to it. Bitcoin has launched over $60,000 now. You remember about 5 years ago, Bitcoin wasn't even at 3,000. Here we are at 60,000. This is the fastest adopted technology in human history. And I want you to remember that because that's what's driving all this. Remember the last fastest adopted technology in human history? It was called an iPhone. And before that, it was the internet. Well, my belief is that Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, the blockchain, those things are all the future, and the future is now. And so what's happening is these blockchains are evolving. This decentralized model is evolving. Why? I'll tell you the first reason is we can't really trust our politicians anymore to do the right thing. And maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't think this world's a better place today than it was yesterday. But I'm an optimist, and I think it will be. I just have a lot of trouble seeing how the things that the decisions that we're making are going to economically propel us forward. We're printing money with no value. The measure of a society and a society's success is productivity. And when you've got people sitting on their butts, but you've got tons of other people trying to hire them, and there's no reason for them to go back to work because they're getting free money from the government, that's not enhancing productivity. So that's a big macro trend that's happening around the world. It's not just in the United States and not in Canada. It's not in the European Union. It's happening all around the world where people are actually given incentive to stay home. And that does not enhance productivity. It doesn't enhance the economy. And so when those are the undercurrents, underlying what's going on, you start to question. Now, there's this new technology that allows the checks and balances of that to happen because free markets do things to create solutions for problems. So in this case, the problem is politicians. You know what? If you go back and read Shakespeare, if you go back to 2,000 years ago, you always realize that the problem is politicians. Why do we keep putting politicians in power? Well, human beings want to give up some sovereignty in exchange for safety, and that's what happens. But anyway, I'm getting way off here. Bottom line is a new decentralized platform is building. And it's building quickly, and it's building in what's called cryptocurrency and decentralized finance, DeFi. But that's the underlying current. The big kahuna in the DeFi space is something called Bitcoin. Bitcoin was created in 2009, and it is the Coca-Cola of blockchain. It's been out there for 11, 12 years now. It's proven. It's hard to hack, almost impossible to hack. There's a limitation on it. And now let me go into some of the reasons why Bitcoin is up at its all-time highs and will probably go a lot higher, like I've been saying for a long time. Hey, I hope you've been listening to me, by the way. I've been talking about cryptocurrency for months now and about how you should get involved, and I still believe that. Don't start saying, oh, it's at the high, it's too late. I believe we're at the very, very beginning of this. And in fact, I've got a cryptocurrency hedge fund that we are launching now to take advantage of the different silos of cryptocurrency. By the way, there's 10,000 different cryptocurrency tokens or DeFi tokens or blockchain tokens. And it's really, really difficult to weave in and out the regulatory environment, the electronic environment. What I mean by that is the security environment, hacking into exchanges, The regulatory environment is who's going to regulate it, how's it going to be regulated, and then the actual competition among the cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of information. I spend a lot of time every day combing through that information. Also, let me say, if you like what we're talking about, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button at the bottom, put a comment in there. Let's get some discussion going around this, because I'm telling you guys, this is one of the most exciting things, if not the most exciting thing that's happened to humanity in the history of humanity, okay? And so I want you to know about it. I want you to see how exciting it is, and I want you to get involved with it, because this could potentially change your life. And if you don't get involved with it, it could potentially change your life. Now, I'm not saying you need to go run out and put all your life savings into it, but you need to start finding out about what's going on in the market. So keep watching this channel, keep watching what I'm saying, keep being involved in the discussion, because things are happening so fast and I want you to be involved. So let's talk about some of the macro trends and the micro trends that are happening in this space. So let's start talking about the price of Bitcoin today. And so the Bitcoin price is right here at 61,000. Now, if you remember, if you look at back in March, that high was about, I don't know, 3,100. So we're only $2,000 away from that all-time high. And you can see that we hit 61,545 or 593, whatever. We hit $61,000 yesterday. Will it go higher? I believe there's a lot of energy behind the move here. And here's the reason. If you studied your supply and demand curves, right? If you ever took an economics class, or even if you just know, when things are scarce, the price goes up. You're seeing that in oil. You're seeing that in our meat. You're seeing that in wages. You're seeing that in an inflationary environment, which I've been talking about for a long time, about how inflation's coming. And here it is. It's arrived and it's going higher, guys. If you are not hedged, if you are not in something that is moving higher, that is following inflation or beating inflation, you're actually losing buying power. And so Bitcoin is one of those stores of value. So are other commodities, so are other assets. But you need to be in assets, not in cash. Taking a look at this, you're seeing the $61,000 high, which just happened, well, right now, actually. You can see the price of it, $61,120. And now I'm going to move to the all-time chart. Now, that I put this on a logarithmic chart. If I take this off a log, it's almost hard to understand. A logarithmic chart just kind of takes away the swings, and it uses it on more of a percentage basis rather than a strict price basis. Here's what it looks like on a strict price basis. You see that? And so it's like almost imperceptible. This move down here was $300, but it's like doesn't even register on the chart, you see? Until this year, the last year where it's gone to its all-time high. And so that's why if you put it on a log chart, you can really see it a lot better. And so I'm going to talk about charting in just a second, but I'm going to go back and now talk about some of the fundamental things that are happening out there. So here's a CNBC article. The first Bitcoin futures ETF in the US is set to begin trading next week. This is huge, guys. An ETF, an exchange traded fund in the US, okay, which is a big market in the world. And there's a lot of uncertainty around this market right now. So as soon as the uncertainty goes away, this thing takes off, by the way. But one part of the uncertainty is the SEC. And the SEC basically has said, well, we're not going to approve it. We're probably not going to even not approve it. And so we're not exactly sure where the SEC weighs in, but this is going to start trading next week. And so the SEC is a little behind the curve. They don't really know how to handle this fast-moving technology. And so they're probably going to be like, well, you know what? Let's just take our hands off it. It's in the futures market, which is a risky market. I'm not recommending you go out and buy futures on Bitcoin. I'm just saying there's a lot of institutional money that's going to be coming into this space, and it's going to be driving Bitcoin in this exchange-traded fund. And that means it's going to have massive wide adoption, or potentially will. I believe it will. And so the Bitcoin futures ETF from ProShares is a big exchange traded fund company, will begin trading next week in an amended filing from the company that indicated late Friday that they would be starting to trade, marking a milestone moment in the development of the cryptocurrency industry in the United States. This is gigantic, gigantic news. Now, the only thing more gigantic is if the SEC were to approve it, and there's a whisper that they're about to approve an exchange-traded fund that's a regular fund that's in Bitcoin and other currencies, and you'll be able to have access to it. An exchange-traded fund is just basically an unmanaged fund. They put a basket of currencies together, and they just kind of hope that it goes up. And, they're probably going to be right. So it's going to be a really easy way for a lot of people to get involved with it. If you want something more actively managed, I have a cryptocurrency hedge fund that if you're an accredited investor, you got a certain amount of money, you can certainly get involved with that. And then we're actively going to manage it. If you watch our channel, you know that it's just not Bitcoin we're buying, right? That's one of the things that we're buying, but there's all kinds of coins that have huge different values to them and values to the marketplace. So there's smart contracts, there's stable coins, there's DeFi tokens, there's exchange traded tokens. There's all kinds of layers in this market. It's not just Bitcoin, although Bitcoin is the big kahuna. This to me is really exciting. This is from Cointelegraph, and the headline is Salvadorans are now selling way more dollars to buy Bitcoin. That is just so big. Let me tell you why it's big. El Salvador was the first country in the world to say, you know what? We don't trust our politicians. We don't trust our central bankers, not that they have one, but we don't trust the U.S.'s central bankers because they use dollars in their country to really be good stewards of their money. They're just printing money. They're giving it away. They're giving it to special interests. There's corruption in Washington, potentially, right? And we don't know who's getting our trillions of dollars. And we've printed way more money in the past 12 to 18 months than we've printed in the history of the United States. That's irresponsible. And that money is not free. You're seeing it show up in your prices at your groceries, your gas stations, your assets, your real estate. You're seeing it show up everywhere in society, and that's costly. It's a tax on the poor. The poor don't have assets. People that are working people don't have real estate and a lot of assets they can buy. They take all their money and they use it to buy their cell phone bill. They put it in their grocery bill, their gas bill. It just hits them really hard. And people are like, oh, it's good that we have inflation. It's not good that we have inflation, right? My grocery bill has gone up about 50%. My gas bill is up 50%. Well, it's just not good. I don't know how you slice it that, you could say that it's good. And a lot of people are saying, oh, inflation's great. It's never been great in society. It never will be great in society. It's the cost of giving things away for free and not having productivity. But I digress. El Salvador has adopted cryptocurrency, and they've basically made it legal tender. If you go in and you want to buy a cup of coffee, the vendors are now accepting Bitcoin. They've given everybody these wallets called Chivo. That's the wallet that you hold your money. It's kind of like an Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, Apple Pay. And you just swipe your phone, you put it up against the machine, and boom. Now, this is a poor country, El Salvador, but they're trying to make a change, and they're making a change by doing something really smart, putting control in the hands of the people. That's what cryptocurrencies and blockchains do, is they decentralize it. They take it away from some old guy who's sitting there going, you know what, I think we need to print some more money and just create some more fake money in the world so that it has less value. And it puts it in the hands of the people because it can't be changed by one person. It can't even be changed by a group of people. This has got to be the people's money, right? The people make this decision. The more people that are involved, the harder it is to change anything. You need to have 51% to change it. And if you already own cryptocurrency, you're certainly not going to change it in any favor except for your own. So that's the beauty of cryptocurrency, certainly with Bitcoin. El Salvador said, let's do this. Let's get Bitcoin out to everybody. They gave every citizen $30 US worth of Bitcoin. Now, they did that about $15,000 to $10,000 ago, right? So anybody that's held that 30 has now got a lot more money. Now, it's only $30, but in $30 in El Salvador goes a long way. And so what they also did is they put around these ATMs, these Bitcoin ATMs. You put in dollars, you get out Bitcoin, right? It's not a real coin, but you get Bitcoin in your Chivo wallet, which now you can take to a store. And so the adoption is happening. Here's the quote. People are inserting way more US dollars to buy Bitcoin than what they're withdrawing from the Chivo ATM. This comes from the president of the country, Nayib Bukele, who is a pioneer. He's a young guy, pioneer in realizing that this is the future. I think a lot of other countries are going to start doing this as well, a lot. And so let's take a look at it. The increase in US dollars to Bitcoin conversions within the jurisdiction reflects a change in investor sentiment, which initially faced resistance during adoption. There was a couple of little burning of some ATMs when people didn't like the change. People just don't like change, but this change is sweeping the country now, and it's gone from the general public. Moreover, the Salvadorian government offers various subsidies for using Bitcoin, such as fuel subsidies and tax exemptions. And listen, there's something called the network effect. The more people that use Bitcoin in El Salvador, the more people that use Bitcoin in El Salvador. It just starts to get accepted. And then pretty soon you're going to be kind of out of style. You're going to go to pay for something and you're going to have dollars. They're going to go, you know, we don't accept dollars, or we'd rather have payment in Bitcoin. Don't you have Bitcoin? Show us your Bitcoin wallet and just pay. And if you don't have it, you're going to be looked at kind of like down your nose, a little bit snobbish. That's what's going on. That's the power of the network effect, right? I remember when Facebook first came out, not first came out, but it started to get adopted. And people were like, well, I don't find you on Facebook. And I'm like, well, I don't have Facebook. And they're like, oh, you know, Facebook, everybody's got Facebook. Aren't you cool? And so I was like, I got to get Facebook. Okay, I got to get it. I get it because if you're not in that technology, you're not on that platform, you're being left behind. So some really cool stuff going on there. And here's an article from Business Insider, specifically Markets Insider. And it says, for the first time since April, Bitcoin reclaimed the psychologically important $60,000 level. Now Bitcoin is just a stone's throw away from its all-time high mark of $64,863. Amazing, right? And they go on to show you this technical analysis chart, which is actually not bad. Technical analysis. This technical analysis simply means watching the price volume chart action. And so here's a big move that it made in 2015 to 2016. Look at that move there, that leftmost arrow. Then it had a little bit of consolidation or correction where people took their profits. It's natural. Human beings like to take their profits. And then all of a sudden it did what's called a golden cross. Now that's what this chart talks about. It's when a short moving average moves across a long moving average, basically indicating that there's a lot of support and a lot of momentum at the same time behind a stock. So it had a move up from that golden cross. You know, it actually was a pretty good move from like the $4,000 level to the $9,000 level. I mean, if you had $4,000, you'd have made $9,000. That's a pretty good move. So a lot of people took their profits, but it's still below that all-time high at that point. So it wasn't a huge amount of people taking their profits. And then lo and behold, another golden cross happened. And now it went to an all-time high, which is 63,100, which is where we were back in March. And now what they're saying is there's another golden cross happening based on their analysis, right? This is a positive analysis, and it's an analysis of the technical action of the chart. I think it's got some validity. I want to break down the technical analysis from my perspective, and I want to show you what that looks like. All right, so here you're seeing a Bitcoin chart, and now this Bitcoin chart is basically the chart of the last year to date, or the last year, let's call it. So the last 12 months, here's what's done. Now, I've drawn some drawings on there. You're seeing I put a line at the top of the chart. You see that right there? That line at the top of the chart says, okay, there's the high, and all the way on the right is where we are now. That's about where we're a couple thousand points away or dollars away from hitting that all-time high at 63,000. And so you're seeing another pattern, this curved line here. That's basically, if you look at a cup sideways, that's what a cup looks like on the side, right? It's called a cup and handle pattern. So there's the cup. It's that big, long, swooshy, curvy line. And then it has a consolidation pattern, right? Or a profit-taking area. And if the profit-taking area is weak, in other words, the weak holders, the little mom and pop people that are like, hey, I just made some money from this bottom here, I'm taking money off the table, but it's not the institutional sellers. What happens is that's a very small sell-off, and then I have that red line. That's the top of the handle. That's your breakout spot on a technical analysis chart. And I've been doing breakout investing for a long time. Now, there's really no other way to judge Bitcoin on a price action than to look at the fundamentals and then the technicals. But the technicals are just chart reading, right? And chart reading is kind of reading the tea leaves. And there's no guarantees of how these work. But I've seen cup and handle after cup and handle after cup, thousands and thousands of them in analyzing stocks and markets. And it's happening in Bitcoin. And so you can see there was a breakout spot here, and we're very early in that breakout. Pretty exciting. So that breakout was at this point, which is about the $54,000 level, something like that. And so it broke out from the $54,000 level, and it's run to the $60,000. Well, that's a 10% move. So even if you got involved there, that's pretty good. But listen, I want to show you the next chart. And the next chart to me is really exciting because the next chart shows, and there's a bunch of lines. So let me start with this leftmost blue line, this light blue line. There's the high back in 2013. It's around $1,000. And then, of course, it had a long correction and it came up and I basically drew a trend line. So when you draw a trend line, there's another point in here where you draw the trend line. You need two valid points on the chart to draw a trend line. And look at that. We're now over to the right where I've extrapolated it off the chart. And you can see we've basically hit that support level right there a couple of weeks ago, a few months ago, actually, when I think it hit about 29,000, something like that. And then it bounced off of that support level. It's pretty amazing what technical analysis can do. So there, I want you to notice that one spot. Okay, now I've got another line. It's a little shorter term. So that's the high back here in 2017 when we had that big run, 2017. I've extrapolated it and touched it off the top high there. And there we are off the chart there. Those two lines are basically converging in this circle. Let's go to the third one. The third one is a minor one, and it's back here in 2018, kind of the middle of 2018, drawing that off the top of the chart at 63,000 basically. You can see that's got a lot higher spot. So that's a little bit off this chart. But anyway, you could make a case that there's a conversion there as well. And now let's take, I drew a line. I took the liberty of drawing that. This is right there. This is a log chart, which basically takes the swings out of it. Now you can see that's kind of the average move of what's happened. You see that red line, how that makes the average move of what happens? And look at it. It ends up in almost the same exact place as those other two lines. So there's an area here of convergence. Technical analysis loves convergence, right? That basically supports everybody else's analysis, and it's all coming to a head at the same spot. I don't know about you, but I think it's exciting. So listen, I think Bitcoin is right here at 61,000, ready to break through that $63,000 level. I've been telling you guys this for a while. It's once it goes through all-time high, if it needs volume, if it gets volume, it needs it to break through the 63,000. So you need volume. Now, here's why I think that Bitcoin is headed to $100,000 in the near term, because there is little supply. Now, I'm going to go back to what I talked about before, supply and demand. When there's little supply of something, when there's scarcity of something, what happens? Prices go up. And there's charts out there. I'm not going to go over the charts now, but I can tell you that people are not selling their Bitcoin. They're buying it. They're holding it, right? They're keeping it in their portfolio. And so if you study the on-chain metrics of Bitcoin and some of the other blockchain technologies, there's buying, but there's not a lot of selling. Now that selling probably doesn't come in. There's going to be some selling at 63,000. You got all those people that are trapped at 63,000 that are probably going to be like, well, I'm so glad I got back to even, right? They might have been buying then, and they're going to dump. So there might be some dumping here at 63,000. But when hopefully that little bit of dumping is over, you're going to see a run to 100,000. Remember, I said it here. If you want to get involved in cryptocurrency, you really should. I don't know how you do it. Go out there. You don't have to do business with me, but do business somewhere. Figure out a way to get involved. If it's too complex for you, you don't have time, you're busy doing your other stuff, I have a hedge fund for accredited investors only, people with $1 million net worth that can put it into something like this and can afford to lose it. Not that I think you're going to lose, but there's a chance, right? This is a new market. It's a new volatile market too. It moves all over the place. You have to be able to handle the swings. You have to be able to put it in, set it and forget it and let it go. That's what I've got going on. I'm really excited about that. And it's not just Bitcoin, it's other cryptocurrencies, other blockchain technologies. And there's so much stuff happening in this space, guys. It is so exciting. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it helps you see what's going on in the crypto market, because when you zoom out, you're going to realize, I think, and I hope that this $63,000 level is just a very small beginning of Bitcoin. Remember, I said it here first on this video. And hit like and subscribe at the bottom. Make a comment. Let's have a discussion around this. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your being here. I'm trying to build this channel, give you guys more content, give you some more insight on what's going on rather than the quick sound bites you hear on CNBC or the quick news article. I want to give you a little bit more depth about what's going on in this business, in the wealth business in general, and about personal development, how to grow, how to become a better person, how to make your life even more successful. So stay tuned to this channel, subscribe to me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video. By the way, if you want to learn more, if you want to join some of my ecosystems, we have books and courses and masterminds and mentorships and all kinds of really cool things to get the probabilities in your favor. You know, I help wealthy investors play offense and defense by creating safe, reliable income. But it all comes from a system, guys. It all comes from a system. And if you want to learn to do anything right, you've got to have a system. It can't just be, I watched a YouTube video and now I'm going to go throw my good hard-earned money. You need to learn a system. And I've been doing this for 44 years, and I think I got some really cool programs for you to learn. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. You might as well learn it right. You might as well put the time and effort into something that's going to make you money for the rest of your life. Go to one of my sites. The main one is called hackingmoney.com. You can click there. You can go to the products tab. You can see what we have to offer for you so you can take your trading to the next level. And maybe I'll even see you at one of my events. In any case, I hope you join one of my ecosystems, and I hope we see each other down the road.